Again, I'm Max Porterfield. I'm President and CEO of Callinex Mines. Very excited to be here. We're exploring three of Canada's most prolific base and precious metals jurisdictions: the Flin camp in northern Manitoba, the Bathurst camp of New Brunswick, and the Buchans camp of Newfoundland. Here's the disclaimer for the quick readers. In terms of kind of a corporate overview, we did some cleaning up over the summertime. We did a consolidation of our share structure. So today we've got 10.6 million shares outstanding, roughly 6 million shares in the free float. Management and associates own 28% of the shares outstanding. Our largest single institutional shareholders, Resource Capital Funds, and then we also have a few family offices that make up the remainder of the institutional holdings there. We've done a recent capital raise. So as of our recent financial statements, we've got $2.6 million in the treasury and no debt. The stock has moved up more recently, so we've got roughly $11 million market cap today. Our most advanced stage asset is our Nash Creek project that we acquired at the bottom of the zinc cycle in 2016, and we very aggressively began drilling that out and very quickly increased the resource base and put out a maiden PEA on the property early last year. The maiden PEA was really just a start to show really what is the potential economics at an operation at Nash Creek. You can see again the close proximity to infrastructure really came through on the CapEx at $168 million. You have a 25% IRR post-tax and $128 million net present value at an 8% discount rate. With that being said, what led us to have a bunch of success through exploration was utilizing an historic IP data. When I say historic, it was done in 2011 by the previous operator, and we were very successful in growing the resource base with that exploration approach using IP. And so with that being said, we've done a district-scale IP survey over a large portion of the 20-kilometer trend that we control at Nash Creek. The bulk of the exploration that's occurred at Nash Creek has been done at the Nash Creek deposit vicinity, which is 2 kilometers of that 20-kilometer trend. We announced recently we're actively drilling the Nash Creek property, as well as our Superjack project that's in Bathurst with 22 targets that's ongoing right now. And again, that's identifying and targeting results from our IP survey along a favorable rock contacts to grow the resource base. Because VMS deposits occur in clusters, Nash Creek is the only known deposits to occur in this trend that we completely control. And again, we want to grow the size and scale of the potential operation in Nash Creek through discoveries, which is taking place right now. Moving over to the Flin district in northern Manitoba, exploration comes in a very necessary time. The 777 mine that you can see in the town of Flon's got a 2-year mine life. It's going to shut down in Q2 2022 as it stands today. Again, there is no new mine to fill the void in Flon. This is a camp that's had 32 mines, 95 years of continuous production. It's been in a kind of jeopardized, the production history has been jeopardized a few times in the camp's history, notably in the late 1970s, when the original Flon ore body that had been producing since the early 1920s was shutting down. Our former chairman, Mike Maslowski, discovered the Trout Lake mine to save the town and continue that lineage. Again, in the early 1990s, the town was put in the same situation. And Jim Bickel, a member of our technical team, is credited with the discovery of the 777 ore body. And now with the 777 shutting down, there is no new mine, and there's a desperate need for a mine to be discovered in that camp. So we've been actively exploring over the past 5 years the Pine Bay project. Previously, Placidum was the last true operator of the property from 1990 to 93, where they had a mandate to discover a 30 million ton ore body in that area based upon the very large felsic rock package that's been mapped at surface that you can kind of see in the pink with the checker dots there. The significance of that is over 90% of the ore ever mined in the Flon camp has been hosted in the felsics. That coupled with a very large alteration zone at surface that spans 700 by 1,100 meters has always led previous explorers to kind of find the missing giant, so to speak, that would be associated with that type of geology in the area. What we had a lot of success in 2016 by expanding and further deepening a historic Placidum home 38 meters, and that's when we hit 10.3 meters of 13.1% zinc equivalent. That ran 6% zinc, 0.7 copper, 0.4 lead, 1.8 gram per ton gold, and 2 ounces silver. But what was unique about that drill intercept was pyrite hosted and very lowly conductive. which is atypical for the exploration approach that's been taken throughout the Flin Flon camp's history, where everything's been really focused on a pyrrhotite-hosted VMS deposit, which is going to be highly conductive. Again, we've hit a bunch of pyrite, and so what we did to follow up on that over the past year, 9-10 months, is we took a different approach that isn't traditional to the Flin Flon camp, and I'm really quite excited. We announced this just on Monday of this week. We did physical rock property testing across various drill intercepts that had been encountered by our drilling to correlate it to what is the magnetic susceptibility, the conductivity, the chargeability, and the resistivity of the different mineralized zones in intercepts that we hit across the property. And then we correlated that to a new IP survey that we did, which will vector us towards disseminated pyrite. So the goal of the IP survey was to, again, to vector us towards a disseminated pyrite halo that will encompass or be in the footwall to a VMS deposit where the massive sulfides sit. And then we utilized the ground EM surveys and the borehole EM surveys that we did and looked at them in a different way, because the majority of the intercepts that we tested were very, very lowly conductive and kind of was confirmed by that. So typical conductivity signature in the Flin Flon camp for EM is going to be between 1,000 to 10,000 Siemens, where the majority of the high-grade intercepts and mineralization that we tested from a conductivity standpoint was between 0 to 25 Siemens. Also, the disseminated sulfides that were encountered just ahead of the massive sulfide zones in numerous drill holes showed a chargeability signature above 15 millivolts. What you see here on the screen is a chargeability of over 40 millivolts. So we're testing 4 of 10 targets that we've identified on that property, where again we announced drilling on Monday, and I'm very, very excited to see what's to come in the future of us, because a big discovery is much needed for the community and be a big win for our shareholder base. You can see we had a reinterpretation of the EM data. Target area 1, I don't have a pointer, but is between that whole S140 and PBM 005. It's difficult to see on the screen, I know. We reevaluated that. There's a power line that ran over the property. Previous interpretations had overlooked what was actually a pretty conductive target as well on the property. So there is in areas of the property that does have pyrrhotite. Other areas is missing the pyrrhotite. It's pyrite that we've intersected. But what we have here is a target. This is target 1, for example. We've got multiple targets. You can come by the booth or the table and have a further discussion on this. But what you'll see is that this is a cross-section of target 1. You'll see the chargeability anomaly, which will represent the potential halo. And then within that, for vectoring purposes, the EM is a better vector towards the massive sulfides. So you have a chargeable anomaly over 40 millivolts, coincident with a ground EM anomaly, and then historic drilling PBM 005 hit altered felsics with quartz phenocrysts, which is usually lie in very close proximity to a massive sulfide deposit, and then historic drill hole S140 that you can see that hit disseminated sulfides, disseminated pyrite, disseminated pyrrhotite, up to 4.1% zinc over 0.3 meters, and they shut the hole down, as you can see. And then that's the proposed hole. So this is just one target of 4 targets that we'll be testing in this current drilling campaign that's underway right now. Moving over to Point Leamington is a zinc gold resource that we acquired at the bottom of the zinc cycle from Newmarket. We're going to be updating the resource with some updates. There's some opportunities in the model that we believe are mismodeled. In addition, we're developing drill targets in the vicinity of this using historic data, and so we'll have more news on that in the future. So to kind of summarize things, we've got a portfolio of exploration assets, polymetallic VMS exploration in known mining jurisdictions within Canada, in 3 jurisdictions in close proximity to infrastructure, and a technical team that's made numerous discoveries, and we're drilling in 2 provinces currently that's fully funded.